Greetings. It's Pastor Trish from Messiah, and we are beginning our Holy Week journey into the great 3 days of Monday, Thursday, and Good Friday, Easter Saturday, and then, of course, the celebration of the resurrection next Sunday. Uh, Church services, before I forget, 6 p.m. on Thursday and 6 p.m. on Friday. Next Sunday, 8:30 a.m. and 10:30 a.m. with a Easter breakfast in between. I hope that you will be able to join us. I was looking out my window this morning and noticing the goldfinches. I've been watching them carefully for the last couple of weeks as they turn from their winter brown to their summer yellow. And they're probably about 3/4 of the way there. But this is, I will confess, probably the first year I've watched them carefully as those feathers start to change color. I was also noticing this morning, noticed a couple of days last week, I can almost see the buds on a few of the trees. Certainly some of them that from a distance, and if I get up close, of course, I can see those buds. I haven't seen the green leaves on the trees yet, but the buds are there. And I was thinking then about having to pay attention to what's coming. In this case, paying attention to spring coming. It has to come sooner or later, despite this week's forecast once again. But it's coming. And we can see it coming, but we have to pay close attention. In the same way, I'm thinking about the many ways in which Jesus made it very clear what was going to come and how hard it was for his followers to hear what he had to say and to recognize it and see it and understand it when it actually happened. That's true throughout Holy Week, and I invite you in the coming days to ponder what it was that Jesus was telling people and how they kept missing those clues over and over again because it seemed impossible. It didn't make sense. Didn't have anything to do with the reality they knew. And so when he talked about going up to Jerusalem and suffering and dying to rise again, none of that made sense. And even in the moment, they were struggling to understand that as he shared that supper with them and said, I'm not going to do this again until I have come to be with you. The falling asleep in the garden because they had no idea what was happening, even though Jesus again had made it clear the time has come. Being at the cross on Good Friday, running from that, hiding from that because of the uncertainty, even though all the signs were there. And you will hear it as well on Easter Sunday from the Gospel of Luke that we will be reading at Messiah with the women coming expecting the body and puzzled because it's not there, not at all thinking about what Jesus had said until somebody else told them, until the men in white said, don't you remember? He told you this. And only then could they remember and begin to process that. And so it has caused me to ponder, and I invite you to do that with me as well. What is it that we can't see in this moment? How is God's kingdom already bursting in and has been coming in to our world, but we haven't yet picked up the clues about that? What might be right before us? God at work, God's presence being made known, the Holy Spirit at work. What is perhaps already in front of us? But because it is so contrary to our current reality, we can't yet see it. And what can we do to become more cognizant of God's work in the world in this moment? And how can we become more aware of God's presence? What might that look like? Is it more time to look out our window and ponder, to pray, to be in worship, to be in silence, to be connected with others? In what ways can we become more aware of God's inbreaking into this world and the resurrection that God has already given us, even in the midst of difficulty and despair and death itself. So that's what I invite you to think about in these coming days, in this coming week, as we journey together with Christ to the cross, to the tomb, and beyond. A blessed week to you all.